In this section, I will show you how to set up a Raspberry Pi with a keyboard and a monitor. This is the first step to turn your Raspberry Pi into a retro writing machine that can help you stop procrastinating. To set up your Raspberry Pi, you will need the following items: a Raspberry Pi board. You can use any model, but I recommend the Raspberry Pi 4 or 400 for better performance. A microSD card with at least 8 GB of storage. This is where you will install the operating system for your Raspberry Pi. A USB card reader to write the operating system image to the microSD card using your computer. A USB power adapter that can output 5 volts and 3 amps for the Raspberry Pi 4 or 400, or 5 volts and 2.5 amps for other models. A USB-C cable for the Raspberry Pi 4 or 400, or a micro USB cable for other models, to connect the power adapter to the board. A keyboard and a mouse. You can use any standard USB keyboard and mouse, or a wireless one with a USB dongle. A monitor or a TV with an HDMI input. You will also need an HDMI cable that matches the port on your Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi 4 or 400 has 2 micro HDMI ports, so you will need a micro HDMI to HDMI cable or adapter. The Raspberry Pi Zero has a mini HDMI port, so you will need a mini HDMI to HDMI cable or adapter. Other models have a standard HDMI port, so you can use a regular HDMI cable. An Ethernet cable if you want to use wired internet, or a Wi-Fi network if you want to use wireless internet. Once you have all these items ready, follow these steps to set up your Raspberry Pi. 1. Download the Raspberry Pi OS image from the official website. This is the operating system that will run on your Raspberry Pi. You can choose between different versions, but I recommend the light version for this project, as it has no graphical user interface and is more suitable for a retro writing machine. 2. Write the image to the microSD card using a software like Raspberry Pi Imager or Etcher. This will erase all the data on the card, so make sure you back up anything important before you proceed. You can find detailed instructions on how to do this on the official website. 3. Insert the microSD card into the slot on your Raspberry Pi board. Make sure it clicks into place securely. 4. Connect the keyboard and mouse to the USB ports on your Raspberry Pi board. If you are using a wireless keyboard and mouse, plug in the USB dongle as well. 5. Connect the monitor or TV to the HDMI port on your Raspberry Pi board using the appropriate cable or adapter. If you are using a Raspberry Pi 4 or 400, you can use either of the 2 micro HDMI ports, but I recommend using the one closest to the power port for better compatibility. 6. Connect the Ethernet cable to the Ethernet port on your Raspberry Pi board if you want to use wired internet, or skip this step if you want to use wireless internet. 7. Connect the power adapter to an outlet and then connect the USB-C or micro USB cable to the power port on your Raspberry Pi board. This will turn on your Raspberry Pi and boot up the operating system from the microSD card. 8. Wait for a few minutes until you see a login prompt on your monitor or TV screen. The default username is Pi and the default password is Raspberry. Type them in and press enter to log in. Congratulations! You have successfully set up your Raspberry Pi with a keyboard and a monitor. In the next section, I will show you how to configure some settings and install some software to turn your Raspberry Pi into a retro writing machine and stop procrastinating. In this section, I will show you how to install a retro text editor like WordStar or WordPerfect on the Raspberry Pi. These editors were popular in the 1980s and 1990s, and they have a nostalgic charm for some writers. They also have a minimalist interface that can help you focus on your writing and avoid distractions. To install WordStar on the Raspberry Pi, you will need to use the command line and the apt utility. This is a tool that lets you install software from the official Raspberry Pi OS repositories. To open the command line, you can either use the terminal icon on the desktop or press Ctrl+Alt+T on your keyboard. First, you need to update your system and make sure you have the latest packages available. To do this, type the following command and press enter, sudo apt update. This will check for any updates and show you how many packages can be upgraded. If there are any, you can install them by typing sudo apt upgrade. This will ask you for confirmation before proceeding. Type Y and press enter to continue. Next, you need to install a package called DOSBox, which is an emulator that lets you run DOS programs on the Raspberry Pi. To do this, type sudo apt install DOSBox. This will also ask you for confirmation before installing. Type Y and press enter to continue. Now that you have DOSBox installed, you need to download WordStar itself. You can find a free version of WordStar 4.0 on this website, https://www.wordstar.org/index. php/wordstar-emulator/downloads. Download the file called ws40.zip and save it in your home directory, /home/pi. To unzip the file, you can use the unzip command. Type unzip ws40.zip. This will create a folder called ws40 in your home directory. This folder contains all the files you need to run WordStar. To launch WordStar, you need to run DOSBox and mount the ws40 folder as a virtual drive. To do this, type DOSBox. This will open a new window with a DOS prompt. Type mount c/home/pi/ws40. This will mount the ws40 folder as drive C in DOSBox.